Welcome to another edition of your favorite program, The Living Legend. And I am still your host, James Fabian. And today we have a prominent dignity, the High Chief Odepetu of Akure land. Meet Chief Odepetu. Can we meet you, sir?
Well, I'm High Chief M.A. Falade. The full name is Michael Adelushimo. That is, if you say a crown, you cannot mistake it. Adelushimo Falade Odepetu of Akure Kingdom.
Thank you, sir.
Well, if I have to give you my life story, I don't think I can finish it in 3-4 hours. But briefly, I will tell you few things about me. As I've already told you, I'm High Chief Odepetu, M.A. Falade, the Odepetu of Akure Kingdom. I was born in 1935, precisely 3rd of March, 1935. I attended LA school, which started as Afumbowo local government school in Akure. In 1948, I have to move to St. David's primary school when primary school certificate was not approved in Afumbowo. So, from 1948 to 1950, I completed my primary education. I spent only 2 years in infant. I have double promotion twice. When I go to standard upper standard
Yes.
6, well, so also I used only 4 years
Instead of how many
instead
years?
of 6 years.
Instead
The
of
normal
2
thing they
years,
used in
6
primary
years.
school.
Okay.
In those days, when I was in Afumbo, precisely from 1947 to 1950, I was pillar of LA school till 1948. I was very sportish. I participated in high jump, flat jump, pole vault, 100 years, 220, and relay.
Athletics, right?
By that time, 3 of us in Akure used to be the pillar of sport. Myself, Kokumo Adeshida, and a friend called Pakument. That is his nickname. If I come first, either in 100 years or 200 years, Kokumo Adeshida will become second. In those sports that I participated, either I come first or second. I never, come third. So, in those days, they said my father has cooked me in Agbo. That
The local concoction.
they nicknamed me Etu. You know, my father was Odepetu.
Odepetu.
Although the Etu is what they coined for his name, by his brother. But the Europeans and the strangers, they shorten it to Odepetu. Especially if you see the Ondos, they say Akure.
Yeah.
Akure is not our name, it's Akure.
Akure.
That is, ibi tí bíìdì ọba tó jẹ́ second
Okay.
Alákùnrẹ́, ibi tí Àkúnrẹ́ rẹ́ sí tó kù kẹ́ sọ́dẹ́.
Okay.
That's
I
right.
understand now.
Àkúnrẹ́ ni,
Akure.
not Àkúrẹ́, not Àkúrẹ́.
Right.
Báwo lèèyàn ṣe kú kó tó rẹ́? It's impossible. If you hear Ondo, people, they cannot call Akure properly, they say Akue.
Akure.
So, as I was saying,
Yes, sir.
in 1950, I passed 3 entrance examinations. One, Aquinas College. That year of establishing
The
the
school.
Catholic Aquinos in Odepetu area. My father gave them the plan and take enough land for their secondary school. My father also gave specialist hospital, the Odo General Hospital, later renamed Specialist Hospital. Gave them the land free of charge. They used to call Odepetu thick forest. I was able to have 5 O level in Nigeria before I proceeded to London. When I got to London in 1958, September 25, within 2 years, I was able to have 3 A level. GC, three subjects: British Constitution, General Principles of English Law, and Accounting. By virtue of that, I was admitted into Balam and Tooting College of Commerce and College in Tooting Broadway, Southwest London 18. From there, I got through, within 5 years, I got through 3 professional professions. 1, Chartered Institute of Secretary, that is ACIS. Association of Corporation of Secretaries, ACCS. By virtue of my experience, for the experience I have in Nigeria, I was made an associate member of, the 2 professional bodies. In 1963, before I returned to Nigeria, I got through British Chartered Institute of Credit Management of Britain. In those 3 professions, I can get to the pinnacle of any organization. If you remember, about 4 central bank governors were credit management officers in their various banks before they were seconded to be governor of central bank. The last man who was managing credit and advances in First Bank was Sanusi, who became the Oba of
Kano. Yeah.
So-
The Emir of Kano now.
So you will see that my Chartered Institute of Credit Management can get me to the pinnacle of any organization. So also, Chartered Institute of Secretaries and Corporation of Secretaries, all the professions can get me to anywhere. Either in academic, I would have been a professor more than 30 years ago. If you remember, you actually saw me celebrating my 80th year last month. Even this month, that is the 5th of September, that was what brought me to limelight. I'm a beaded crown Oba. Odepetu was the first person to come to Akure, that is, tó wá tẹ Akure dó. Ìgbà tẹ́ ẹ̀gbọ́n ẹ̀ tó rí pé ó ṣọdẹ lọ, tóun rí fún bí oṣù mẹ́fà, oṣù méje, oṣù mẹ́jọ, náà wá lẹ́gbọ́n ẹ̀ wá. Ẹ̀gbọ́n ẹ̀ ní, if you are successful like this, I will go back and pack my bag and baggage and join you. He came. The first Oba was what is the name of the Ashodeboyede from the east, from Benin to be precise. So they were more civilized. They were the first person that vied for ownership. That's why the fact that Odepetu was the first person to be here.
You've said earlier that if you had to tell us your life story, it will take you more than 4 days to complete
Yes,
the
I
whole-
just give you the abridged version.
Thank you for that.
You are asking me how many children
Yes,
do
sir.
I have. I won't tell you how many children, but I can tell you how many women that are my wife and who gave me children. I'm happily married with my first wife, who gave me two good boys. My firstborn is in Manchester. He's a chartered accountant, and he's trading in chemicals, which has got about 4 expertise under him, and so many other staff. He's doing well. He was born in 1961, as I've told you earlier.
Yes.
So, the second one, my wife had a series of miscarriage before he had the second one in 1967. He is a qualified architect, but now he's a successful poultry magnate opposite Redeem. He has, about 10 acres that is using, as a poultry, piggery, fishery. He's a successful arable farmer. So, because of fibroid, my wife couldn't, went through so many operations. So he couldn't bear more than that too. Then I told her, with agreement, that I'm going to have another wife. Oh, you can't take me to court. Justice Aguda has declared that there is no bigamy law in Nigeria. That white wedding, court wedding, is reserved for Europeans. They may have many concubines secretly. They are telling lies that they have only one wife. So I married the second one in 1975, who bore me a female daughter that was crowned with me in 1987, just like the Deji. We climb Okiti Omolore like the Deji. Everything that is done at Deji's palace is done in my palace too. So then I met another woman. She bore me one child. Then, before Akure people told me that I have to get children on the throne. Then my wife that is living with me now, she has gone to her shop. She bore me another 2 children. So that is the story of my children. I have many children, but that is what I can tell you. The young ones that are coming, I will tell them that they should hold on to education. They should not join any vanguard or involved in any cult. They should not depend on property owned by their father. That is inheritance. They don't know how their father acquire all his wealth. As I've told you earlier, it will be frittered away because they will not know how to utilize it, how to multiply it. They don't know how their father, acquire his wealth. Then they should rely mostly on education, because education can take you to the pinnacle of any career. There are some people who are graduates that they are now farmers, as I've given you the example of my second son. There are some people who manage a company that are carrying excreta and they became successful. You hear about this man making a casket that died recently with Agagu. He was a graduate. His son is a graduate. Because of his knowledge, he was able to be producing caskets of good quality. Later, he started importing. He was a very successful man, very rich. Because of his education, he was able, to progress. There are so many graduates, like myself, that started business, like Clarence Afodi, that need little or no capital, and I became successful. employing 2 expatriates, having fleet of 23 trailers before I came here, built 3 houses in Lagos, bought a house in Japo here, then acquired this plot, over 1 acre of land, this 1976. That was the edifice I put down here. To buy a plot of land in Japo here now, you have, more than 2-3 million or 10 million. The house I bought for 68,000 at Ijapu. I sold it after I bought it in 1969. I sold it about 8 years ago for 12 million naira. So the young ones should try and rely on their skill. Therefore, Ishe Oma Ashije Owashila. If you want to become rich, don't use your pen to defraud government. Wọ́n ní àṣepamọ́ ló wà, àṣegbé ò sí. Now, Buhari is prosecuting all of them. They acquire property illegally, money illegally, and they went to stash it overseas. When they die, the money, will belong to that country. Because before they were saving in Switzerland with a secret account. When nobody knows that you are saving money in Switzerland,
it becomes a waste.
how will you be able? How will your children, recover it? Buhari now has come out violently with every one of them. I think you are reading the paper regularly.
Yes,
Of course, you are working with internet. If you don't read it, you will hear from the news.
Yes,
You will hear from CNN and so on. Our local CNN is channels who dish out good news every day. So they should not participate in any cult. They should not, be loafing around. They should find something to do. Now, the central bank has introduced, training in soap making, fishery, grass cutter, farming, and so many. If you don't get a job, go for six week training, sponsored by the central bank. After you pass out, from the training, central bank is prepared to give you 3 million. Depend on how you can manage it. You can start your own entrepreneurship. So that is my advice to the youth. Nobody is born rich. It is the poor people who work hard to become rich and richer and richer. People born with a golden spoon, they are too proud. Their father will provide everything cheaply, and they expect their father to be providing for them. They won't struggle. It is those people who are poor, who came from poor family like me. For àwọn kan àtàpátá dìde, tèmi àtẹrọ̀fọ̀ dìde ní tèmi. So you should rely on your self-reliance. So that is my advice to the younger ones.
Thank you, viewers. It's been an interesting interview with another living legend, the High Chief M.A. Falade Odepetu of Akure land. I'm still your dazzling host, James Fabian. Until next time, keep living like a legend.